Technology and media is the next major category. There are a lot of different technologies that are helping to drive forward and facilitate corporate social responsibility, but but just a couple, for example, sustainable energy, video conferencing. They're becoming increasingly advanced and much more cost-effective, so it's now becoming more affordable than ever to become carbon neutral, to mitigate your environmental impact, to get involved in corporate social responsibility. And many businesses are certainly cutting costs significantly by doing these things. For example, by substituting business travel with online communications. Just as one example, Cisco Systems, their CSR travel policy helped the company reduce travel expenses from $750 million to $350 million, a $400 million reduction over the course of just 1 year. So there are major benefits here for companies for sure, and that's a example of a large enterprise, but smaller businesses are certainly achieving these benefits as well as nonprofits and government organizations too. The next major technological issue is internet and social media, because prior to I'd say the development of the internet, but particularly Web 2.0 social media sites, things like Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, and YouTube, the public really had limited access to information about a business and its operations and the real details, the background of the products that it makes and what goes into the products that it makes. But with the creation and accessibility of these vast social media networks, a company can now share its CSR performance relatively easy with millions of people in just a few hours. But at the same time, individuals can learn about the negative impacts of businesses with much greater ease, and can even create public relations nightmares for companies by sharing their poor experiences online. And this is really easy to do now thanks to the internet, thanks to the networks that we have over the internet too. And the last technological issue is mobile access to information. Individuals now have access to information, including information about companies and the products that they make wherever they are. With handheld mobile hardware and software becoming so much more sophisticated, consumers now can instantaneously research a company and research its products and their background, even if you're just standing in the grocery store. And one great example is the Good Guide application for the iPhone, which literally lets consumers do just that, to immediately access information on a product's CSR impact, its social and environmental impact, simply by scanning the barcode in the grocery store. The next major category of CSR drivers involve the environment, and really just two particular examples, though we could go through many more, but two major ones are climate change and resource depletion. Regarding climate change, of course, industry is the greatest contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. So the pressure is really on them to reduce their carbon footprint and reduce their greenhouse gas emissions in order to help turn around rising temperature trends. Whether it's due to kind of a corporate conscience or due to consumer choices or government pressure or NGO activism, businesses are facing right now internal and external influences to measure, to manage their environmental impact like never before, because of the common scientific consensus on climate change. The second issue, resource depletion. Of course, again, we're seeing oil and other valuable resources become much more scarce, but at the same time, the price of these commodities are continuing to rise. So the most innovative businesses have already begun turning to alternative energies and turning to other sustainable resources in order to mitigate these issues, to protect their supply chains, to protect their competitiveness, while meanwhile helping to protect the environment. But but I really believe that the pressures to create these sustainable supply chains are only going to continue to rise over the next couple of decades. The next major issue is globalization. First of all, development and equality. Globalization has certainly helped many developing countries to grow, uh, but nevertheless, the main benefits of globalization have really been reaped by large multinational companies in Western countries. Uh, but that said, done right, trading and manufacturing abroad still offers a huge opportunity to help bridge gaps in inequality by providing employment, by providing fair wages, and by opening up new markets for poorer countries. We're seeing particular initiatives, CSR initiatives, such as fair trade programs, for example, help directly address these issues, and many companies such as Starbucks have recognized their ability to make significant impacts in improving the lives of people in developing countries. The next major globalization issue is competition, because as it becomes easier and easier to buy, to sell, to manufacture things internationally, businesses are facing more competition in their respective markets, no matter where they operate. So, in an effort to differentiate themselves, many businesses have begun focusing on their social responsibility performance, while many others have been indeed forced to integrate CSR into their strategy simply to catch up with their competitors. Next is government and regulation. And just a couple things here. First of all, regulation, and particularly regulation on social and environmental reporting. We're seeing now legislation to require a certain extent of social and environmental reporting. It's a fairly new concept, but it's been growing in popularity throughout the world. In the United Kingdom, in France, and in several other countries, they've already started to require certain businesses to have a specific level of CSR transparency. And I'd speculate that it's really only a matter of time before Canada, before the United States, and before other developed nations catch up to this trend. Um, one Canadian example, the introduction of Bill C-300 could be an early sign of this movement, as it would require Canadian mining companies, a specific industry piece of legislation, but to be more transparent and to be more accountable in regards to their foreign operations. Another important type of government intervention driving CSR involves national accession to international treaties. Generally, these treaties would target specific areas of CSR. For example, we've seen the United Nations Declaration of Human Rights, the Convention on the Rights of the Child, the Convention Against Corruption, and several environmental protocols as well that hope to address CSR issues, but also can force, with the rule of law, companies to abide by socially responsible business practices. And the last government issue is sort of on the other side, but through I'd say most of the 20th century, social and environmental concerns were probably considered the sole domain of government. But now many really feel that government has failed to properly address a lot of these issues. And lobbyists, whether they're just individual citizens or whether they're well-organized advocacy groups, are turning their attention to companies that have the potential to solve many social and environmental problems directly, and in a way without the lag and the bureaucracy of government.